Let's see, just real quick before I get started. Okay, you loosened up a little bit. Alrighty. How's it going, folks? Jesse here with Buddy's Pro Shop. Hopefully to give you a nice, clear audio today. As you know, that is our plague when we start our live reviews. I think it's just about every time some either different audio situation ends up happening. So, if you guys are just tuning in, if you're just turning into the stream, you're seeing what we're doing here today, please let me know if the audio is working in the comments. I'll be able to see that for you. Now, let's jump into exactly what we're going to be looking at today. Today, we have for you a live review of two different balls that I'm really just going to kind of keep compared to each other. And that is going to be the 900 Global Vengeance. Now, as you may have seen, if you're a follower of social media, especially in the 900 Global page, you see that this ball took over their page. And it's got a lot to say. It claims a lot of different things. One, it claims that it can do anything, that it's good at anything. Now, I've thrown a little bit of this ball on, admittedly, a broken down house shot, and anything was probably a little bit of a stretch. But the ball itself, very, very strong. It's got, I believe, a 0.55 for a differential, so a lot of differential for this particular type of ball. It's a strong symmetrical cover on it, so brand new cover on this particular piece too. New covering core, I believe. And then, yeah, so a lot of differential, low RG. The ball really wants to hook up pretty early and be a really strong control piece overall. So when there's a lot of friction out there, I wasn't really that big of a fan of it until I got into the oil and was able to play around. Today's going to be a little bit different. As we did put a pattern out that does have a little higher volume in comparison to your house shot. That was a junior gold pattern. So if we'll go ahead and take a look real quick. This is the pattern that we're going to be bowling on today. Now this is the junior gold match play pattern from 2025. So I believe it's 43 feet. It's almost about 28, 29 mils or so. A little on the flatter side. So something right around that 3-to-1 mark. But something where we can really get a good idea of what kind of control a ball like this is going to provide on a pattern with a little bit more volume. Now, if you're somebody who is a little bit more on the speed dominant side, potentially you could get yourself into using this in league. Me personally, unless I'm used to dealing with a lot of volume, I'm probably not going to be putting this on my league pattern. A lot of those ended up being, especially today, a little less volume. But if your center's a little different, or your center has a very, very new surface and you're looking to control it, I feel like it's going to be the play. But today, we get to take a look at it on a sport pattern. So, running back here. The second ball we're going to be reviewing, and it's going to be a little bit later in the day, is Roto Grip's Transformer. Now, this particular ball has taken over social media in a different kind of way. As you are well aware, Radical has some designs that are out that are, we'll call it similar. So where drilling into certain portions of the ball is going to affect the core numbers in a much different way than what we're used to seeing. So this particular ball has the core basically right on the side of the ball. So you kind of get to see the shape of what that core is. They talk a lot about the wings in this core. They're referring to these guys right here on the side that we're going to be either drilling into to increase precision, while the other one is going to be decreasing it. My fault. So if you're increasing the torque-induced precision, that's going to mean one thing. If you're decreasing, it's going to mean another. So we're going to go ahead and put this ball right back down on the ground as we're going to get more into this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know a little bit deeper dive into this, I would highly suggest going to take a look at Alex Hoskin's YouTube from Storm, where they went over the torque-induced possession just a little bit more, really kind of dug into exactly what it's doing to the ball. Me personally, I love keeping things simple. Even if it's a brand new ball, I'm still going to drill some holes in it, throw it, see what it does. At the end of the day, I don't care what the numbers of a ball are. I don't care what the cover of the ball is. If I throw it and it does what I like, then we're in the right ballpark. So we are going to get to that one a little later. The layouts for both of these balls are pinup layouts. Now my Vengeance has 60 by 4.5 by 30. So that is just a stronger pinup layout for me these days. I used to be in the 4-inch range and decided to bump it back just a little bit because these balls are starting to get pretty strong. While the Transformer, I just did my normal pinup on that too, and I did miss the wing. So this ball is going to get a little further down lane, which is opposite of kind of what we're used to telling you guys with pinup balls, where it's going to get a little further down lane, probably have just a hair cleaner shape and maybe just a little less shape overall than its pinned down counterpart where you are drilling into the wing. So that's the important part there. So once again, check out Storm's YouTube channel. You'll be able to see a little bit more on torque-induced precession and how it is going to play in the transformer. But for today, we're going to throw it and we're going to show you. Okay? So to start out, once again, before I do start throwing any of these pieces, be sure to like and share the stream. Since we're soloing this today, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with the comments to get to everybody. But if you guys are liking and sharing the stream, you've got yourself a chance to win a free Buddies merch pack. So if you take a look at the bottom corner there, you're going to end up seeing what's involved with this Buddies merch pack. Pretty much anything that we have here that's got our Buddies logo on it, you got a chance to have thrown in that pack. So especially with the rotating ball cup, crazy tool to have if you're not used to having one of those. Kind of work your release or you clean your equipment, any of the above really. So we'll go ahead and get you guys into a view. We're able to see both things going on here. We'll go ahead and take a look. So if you guys notice any trouble with the stream or audio or anything like that, please feel free to shoot it in the comments. I'm going to keep coming back and checking. I'm my own moderator today. So, and please drop any questions you guys might end up having about these pieces. So since this is a little bit longer than our typical house shot by about a foot, but it's got a little more volume, I'm going to start a little further right despite this ball being stronger. So let's see what kind of volume we're going to handle. That was too bad. It was a little more on the forward side of it, but the ball still really kind of dug into it a little bit there too. So that was at very least pleasant to see for the first shot. The ball does come out of box at 2,000, and on top of this ball being a big flaring ball, which once it comes back we'll be able to take a look at, hopefully. It's got a lot of cover and a lot of surface to deal with too, so not sure how much we'll be able to see here on the camera, but there are some of the flare rings. We're not through the densest part of the oil yet, but we're pretty close still. So it's interesting to see those really big flare rings on this particular type of ball. So, you know, once again, something that's going to be real good to control some volume. So see if we can put another one pretty close to that, see how close it is. That one had a little more circle too. Hey, that wasn't too bad for something that had a little more circle to it. I actually expected to jump, but it kind of dug in early enough to the point where it really rounded that shape out. So that's very interesting. Once again, if you're just tuning in, we are bowling on a sport pattern today, a little bit different than our house shot here. This is the Junior Gold sport pattern. I'll just pop the image up real quick one more time, just so you guys can kind of have an idea of what the shape of what we're bowling on today is. Just about 28, 29 mils, a little on the flatter side, somewhere about 3 to 1, 43 feet. So the guys the folks at Junior Gold are bowling on that type of thing, so why not us, right? And it was great to be able to showcase stronger balls on, because if you guys can get some control on some patterns that are a little bit more difficult, where the ball is going to help you out a little bit more in the front part of the lane, allow you to have more consistency throughout the lane, that's the type of stuff you're going to want to end up seeing if you're thinking about experimenting with going on some more challenging conditions. So these are the types of balls you want to get yourselves into. Another shot here. What's that one do? That was a little lazier for sure. My fault there. Kind of got it just a hair further right than shot had before. We'll go ahead and skip out on the spare shots for today as much as I need them. Folks, don't do what I'm doing right now and reset the rack during your practice. Shoot your spares. I don't recommend not shooting your spares, but since we're a little limited on time and I want to get to be able to show you guys some of these pieces. All right, Vengeance and Zero Mercy Solid. That's a really good question. As a matter of fact, I think I have the Zero Mercy Solid in the Pro Shop. Maybe I'll pull that out to put it up against. But what I'm going to end up seeing out of the Vengeance is going to be just a little earlier probably and a little more rounded shape overall. But it's probably similar amounts of strength, especially with this thing having a little more differential. And then obviously the Zero Mercy's got some differential too. Very strong cover, but it's going to offer probably a little more continuation down lane. As opposed to this, where I think it's going to be really about that mid-lane control. So if this is something that you can wrap your hand around just a little bit more, so if someone with a little more rotation, this is probably something you're going to want to get into versus Zero Mercy. Since it is asymmetric, they have a tendency to offer just a little less control overall and a little unpredictability. Now, you know me. If I talked about Zero Mercy, I've talked nothing but good things about both of them so far. One of them won me a title with the Solid. The other one was the Pearl, and I think I just absolutely been crushing it as far as every time I bring that ball out, it's striking. So, yeah. So, but no, I think that was a good comparison. Maybe we'll grab that here in just a few minutes. See another one here. Probably not as far right, but it's early in the day, so we'll see. That was definitely a play. You guys are getting a raw look of what it's like to warm up. I don't think I had 2 shots before we turned the cameras on today. So used to be able to do it pretty much right out of the gate. As you guys are starting to know that once the age catches up to you, the shots take longer to get there. So it's all right though. You guys got to see what the bad ones look like too, right? Especially on something that's a little bit flatter. I mean, still a ton of flare here. If you guys can see that. Yeah, just an absolute ton of flare on this particular ball, which is exactly what you expect. So lower RG, not going to fight your rev rate as much. It's going to allow it to get into a little earlier roll, along with the 55 for a differential, which is by far the biggest ball, biggest symmetrical ball for sure that we've seen come out of SPI in some time. So very interesting for them to put out such an aggressive cover. Let's get another one here. This ball does come at 2,000, so it does have some teeth to it. That was much better. I bet you that's pretty good. Hey now. That one's got to go. Lots of control there. That was much closer on line shot. And those are the types of things that I feel like you need to look for on sport patterns, especially early on. Something that's going to get you to the pocket consistently. Whether it's running the 8-pin over is a little different story. If you can get that right out of the gate, that's nice. But a lot of times in the flatter patterns, you got to let the pattern develop a little bit and kind of come to you. Really, you're just looking to have a ball that's going to get in the bag and offer you some control and get to that 1-3. Okay, that's why I said shoot spare, so that's a big part of it. So we're still a little on the far right side here. Not going to break the lanes down too much before we try to make a move, but we'll see. That was just a little further right, a little up the back of it too, so kind of doubling down on the control. Got to give the thing some type of shape to be able to get back, but is what it is. Blame the bowler, folks. Blame the bowler. You're still seeing that control where it kind of dug in and just really kind of rounded out the shape there. I'm not expecting this ball to go crazy down lane at all on any aspect. Now, what I said earlier before we started was that this particular ball, they say, or it claims, the ball itself claims that it's good at everything. Now, when I bowled on the broken down house shot, it was a little bit of a different story. Once I got into the volume, I had to add some axis rotation to be able to round the shape and be able to get it there. I didn't think it was a very good, big left to right type of ball. But then again, I wasn't really maxing out the rotation and kind of sending it there to see what it does. This is a great ball to control volume and be able to control the fresh on your house shots, especially if you're a speed dominant bowler. I mean, this thing is going to allow you to have some extra control in that part of it too. Once again, that was just a little off the lane too. I ain't claiming to be good, folks. I'm claiming just to throw the ball so you guys can see it on the lane. The good part about being on a flatter pattern as we're testing these things is that you can actually see the ball still pick up in a similar part of the lane each and every time as it goes down, where since there's so much taper to a house shot, as you get a little bit right, the ball's going to pick up earlier naturally. If you get a little inside, the ball's going to go longer naturally. So when these patterns are a little bit flatter, you get to see a little bit more of the true shape of what these balls are offering. So that's just something to think about there too. Not all about the strikes every day, folks. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we definitely try. Thank you guys for watching, by the way. It's very, very nice to see that you guys are receiving the information and being able to use it and be able to see some of this equipment and what it does. We really do hope that it helps you guys out. At the very least, we just like hearing ourselves talk. So, but unfortunately, Forey had to be out today. He said he wasn't feeling too well. If you guys know Forey likes to talk too. But especially when we're trying to educate you guys on, just to get you to see some of this equipment. All right. That was much better. I bet you that goes to the pins. Ah, okay. Just a hair forward still probably, but still offering that control. That's really what I'm kind of looking for there. So I was a little hesitant. I do have a phase 2 out here too, but I think the phase 2 in that particular ball are going to be quite a bit different. I think the phase 2 is definitely going to be sharper as it gets down lane. Still my stronger symmetrical ball. Probably going to keep a phase 2 in the bag forever. But as far as needing something that's even just a hair step up, which I've definitely had a lot of people talk about, Vengeance is going to be in a good place. Go ahead and dismiss this, because if my strike game's looking like this, I can only imagine the spare game's looking like today, yeah? Which I guess that's not always a straight correlation. There's been days where I have no strike game and spare game's on 100%. So if you guys have any questions about this, throw it in the comments. And yeah, don't forget, like and share the stream as we're working on the Vengeance, and we'll get over to the Transformer here in just a few minutes. But like, share the stream, get yourself in it for a chance to win one of those Buddies merch packs. We are going to make an announcement at the end to who won that. But I'm actually going to, just so I can firm up a little bit, I'm going to move just a hair further right. Just get a little more assertive as I'm starting to finally get a little looser here. Feel all right. Yeah, I think I was a much better play there. So takes me, as everybody, takes a little bit to kind of get loose up and be able to kind of clear the thumb one time. For all the guys that use the thumb, you know the drama. So I'll throw 1 or 2 more shots with this Vengeance. And then, yeah, maybe I'll go grab that Zero Mercy solid out of the shop real quick. And we'll throw a shot on top of it, just so you guys can see what some of the, 2 of the biggest balls that are out on the market right now, what they do. Symmetrical, 8 versus asymmetrical, and obviously SPI versus hammer. So, or SPI versus Branson Brunswick at that point. So we go a little bit further right than we did last shots. Stick on that line. What's that one do? Nice, much better, much better. Never claimed to be good at reading ball reaction either, so takes you a little extra long. It's those slow brain guys like me sometimes, I tell you. Now, those last 2 shots looked very promising. And let's get another one here, because I thought I missed just a hair inside on that one too, and did all the right things. Once again, we are balling on a flatter pattern today. Oh my goodness. Should have had the full view on for that one, boys. And hopefully you guys got to see it. Look, it's unfortunate the camera that we use for the down lane camera, that's as far as it's letting us zoom in right now, so hopefully we get the other one back here soon. That's 2 today, boys and girls. I don't know if I get 2 messengers out of me in one day. See if we get another shot here in that same type of zone. Since we're going to be lined up, ideally, then we'll go see what that Zero Mercy does right on top of this. Pretty close. Yeah, still same thing. It's pretty rounded shape overall. You can really see that the ball still picks up in the middle part of the lane, but it's still really offering a lot of mid-lane control. I know we're not seeing a ton of shape down lane, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about controlling the front part of the lane and the middle part of the lane on things that have a little bit more volume. Now, if this was a little bit more tapered, I'd be a little further left to right and really making sure to add some rotation to kind of blend the ball out. So if you are somebody who has a high axis rotation, so a lot of side roll in the ball, then yeah, this is another one that is going to very much help your game out in terms of trying to find some control in your equipment. So something that's a little earlier, it's going to try to pick up and help you out a little bit. So as crazy as that sounds, for a ball to be very strong, wanting a lot of side roll, anytime we can get a ball to pick up just a little bit earlier, it's going to help blend that out a little bit. So having said that, I'm going to throw 1 more shot and then we'll go grab that Zero Mercy just so it's fresh in our minds. It should only take me a second to run in the shop, and we'll grab and pull out, see what happens. So 1 more shot with this Vengeance. That was pretty good too. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the Zero Mercy there. As you've seen that one had a little more rotation. It actually went through the pins a little stronger. So be right back. Alrighty. Now, admittedly, the Zero Mercy does have a few more games on it. Probably no surprise there. We'll go ahead and get ourselves a full rack of pins. If you guys are just tuning in, like and share that stream. Want to make sure everybody has a chance to win a free Buddies merch pack. Who doesn't like some free stuff just by tuning in? And obviously, we're going to make the announcement at the end who won, so best to pay attention. Now, this does have a few extra games on it, like I said. It's been a while since I've hit it with some surface. Probably actually since Neva. So this is pretty much a lane shine. A couple games on it without touching the surface or anything like that. So I still expect it to be a hair cleaner front to back and definitely a little sharper off that spot. But we're going to be able to take a look, especially with these colors on this ball. It's pretty easy to see the motion. So same place I just ended with the Vengeance. And we'll see what it has to offer. Thumb's getting a little tight. A little rolly on that one too. That one might have been my fault there, folks. That was pretty forward. All right, let's go ahead and get that reset there. Ignore the first shot with it. That's how I feel when I go to the first pair too. Like, ignore that first one. You're going to a tournament or something like that, and you're going pair to pair. Unless it strikes, don't pay attention to it. No, it's the 1-3, I guess I should say. All right. A little better shot here, something that's not going to be dead rolled forward. Like I said, shouldn't be as early as just because it doesn't have a fresh cover on or fresh surface. That one's pretty close. Yeah, I don't know if you could really see it in the same way I could, but it was much straighter as it was going down the lane before it finally turned over, and just really offered still a controllable shape as it got to the back part versus something that would be shined up. It'd be a little violent. And that one definitely took a little bit longer to get in there and start kicking that corner. Maybe I'll hit this thing with a little bit of surface. Try to get a little closer to having some teeth to it, which is exactly what I would do with this ball anyway, so probably in the best interest for me. That was a little closer to what we've been doing. Yeah, the ball still wants to really get a little further down lane before it starts to pick up. So pretty noticeable difference between a symmetrical and an asymmetrical, whereas that Zero Mercy is going to look down the lane just a little further. It's still a very strong ball. Just something that I would probably moving in just a little further with, or using a little bit more rotation to kind of take advantage of it. So let's see here. You know, that last one even was probably just a little forward from that spot. So I bet if I had just a little more rotation to it, I bet you it faces up pretty good here. The Zero Mercy solid in comparison to what that Vengeance was doing. I'm probably only going to throw one more actually with this one. We'll throw a couple more shots with the Vengeance, and then we'll get into that Transformer here in a few minutes. So, into the Zero Mercy solid, probably in the same part of the lane here. Just a little more rotation. Yeah, that's what I was talking about right there. So a little more overall, just axis rotation put on that line. Still got a little further down lane than what I had seen that Vengeance doing before. It just kind of made just a little bit more violent of a shape as it met that defined friction, which I think is the important part that people need to understand, is what is the ball doing once it actually meets friction. All right, so we'll go back to, I'm going to go back to the Vengeance here just for a few more shots. Using these Jopo thumbs. That's I tell you what, that's probably the best thing I've done for my fit in general, is just going to Jopo. It's a lot of security with these thumbs. I think I have my oldest thumb in my bag, which is the first one I drove a couple years ago. Still clicks just as solid on all my equipment today. It's crazy. Crazy we could do a little bit of innovation. All right, so we're going to go in just a little bit, probably just a little beyond where I started earlier, but I'm going to add some rotation with this Vengeance. Let's see if we can really start to get its bounce. Okay, there we go. So once again, just make sure I add a little bit of rotation, but even with that, moving further in, I can still see that ball slowing down a little bit more than what that Zero Mercy solid did there. So that's very interesting to see. Yeah, 255 diff on this one. I know the Zero Mercies were pretty up there. I think they were in the 050 as well, or maybe 053, something in that ballpark. They were stronger, right? So just interesting to see what a symmetrical ball from that position does versus asymmetric. Now, the bigger part is I'll probably, if I kept migrating into more volume, I would have to go to the Zero Mercy with that same rotation, because as it meets that friction, it's going to be a little bit more violent as it's coming off there and offer just a little more shape without me having to do so much at the bottom. So still in the vengeance here, just kind of curving, just adding that rotation to the spot. Very close. It's another one. Once again, just really still offering that smooth control shape. I have a decent amount of rotation on the ball right now. It's probably in my middle to middle higher range. Definitely not the maxed out, but it's still offering plenty of control off of that spot. Which, now that I think about it, I really like to do that. So I really like to add a lot of rotation and get some control out of it. So it's very nice to see. Very nice to see what I could do with a pin-up ball. Typically, when I'm adding a lot of rotation, my pin down balls from a little further left and just letting them eat and do the thing. But yeah, so to get this amount of control, despite having a lot of axis rotation, definitely speaks to the strength of the ball, just because it is reading early still, even with that rotation. Another one with some rotation here. That wasn't my best. The ball doesn't care sometimes, so that's it. So that's the vengeance. At very least, on this type of pattern, as I'm going to get into the transformer a little bit. If we break the lanes down enough, I feel like there's enough of a difference. We'll chase it back in with the vengeance, and the transformer probably right back behind it. So this is the one that I think turned the most heads in the industry, despite the vengeance taking over 900 global social media, as it said. But the transformer, this is the big one. So this is the one Storm came out with, and there was a ton of controversy if they were copying ideas or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care. I don't necessarily think they were copying the idea. I think it's just innovation pushing in a way that eventually all brands are going to have to catch up to and start doing something similar. If anything, for me, it's another step to adding to complicating your ball reaction. Now, having said that, there's a couple different ways, and balls do come with a guide on how to drill these. As far as, do I drill in to the wing, which is illustrated right here? They marked it out for us. Do you drill into the wing and increase, or I believe, increasing torque-induced precession, whereas the other one, without drilling into the wing, is going to decrease it. So check my math on that one. I could get a little backwards sometimes. All I know is that now our pin down balls allegedly hook a little bit more and a little bit earlier with the transformer when you're drilling into the side of that, into that wing. So taking out a lot of mass out of the ball in comparison to the filler around it. Now me, I already know I bowled a ton of high friction centers. So I need help getting the ball a little further down lane and holding on to that rotation just a little bit longer, which is exactly what the pin-up balls do in this case. So normally we're used to seeing a little bit more shape and a little earlier read out of the pin-up balls, whereas the pin-down balls offer the opposite. In this case, since I missed the wing, this one is going to hold on to its axis rotation a little bit longer and potentially offer a little bit more down lane motion versus that earlier read. So I'm actually going to go ahead and sit right back on top of where we just left with the vengeance and then go for there. If you want to know more information about the actual core, know a little bit more about torque-induced precession, there is plenty of videos on Storm's site where Alex Hoskins dives very deep into the core design and exactly what those things mean. I would focus more on him as far as the technical things. As far as ball reaction, you get to watch your boy here. All right, so like I said, I'm going to start in the same place and do the same type of thing I was with the vengeance. I expect to see this ball be sharper. And it does have a little less surface on it too. Well, not necessarily. I mean, the ball definitely got further down lane. And for the record, that's the first time I've thrown a shot with that ball, so I had no idea what was going to happen. Definitely didn't have a ton of shape to it. We're going to come, when it comes back, we'll see the flare. I think I probably could have added just a little more rotation overall, but let's see. I mean, the ball still flares pretty good, so the flare in this case isn't going to dictate anything as far as it holding on to rotation. As you'll note in the video, if you end up watching it on Storm's YouTube, a lot of the time when a ball flares a lot, we're going to see it get forward too. In this case, not necessarily. Now this, the cover stock that is on this is the same cover stock that is on the Gremlin, but the solid version. Still no, they say no nanotechnology in it. Something like that. All right, same thing. Maybe I'll just soften up and add a little bit more rotation. I probably undercut that last one a little more than I thought. That one had some rotation. What's that do? Yeah, there we go. Now that one you really got to see as it got down the lane, drive through the pinch. Just a little sharper overall. So a little easier to see on that one. I think the first one I kind of cut and got a little more forward than what I thought. So good morning, everybody. Once again, if you guys are just tuning in, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and share the stream. We want to get everybody as much opportunity to see some of these balls in action, talk about them a little bit, make some comparisons, and maybe even get some new ideas for some future Buddies reviews. So. See another one here. Once again, I'm in a similar zone as to what I was with the Vengeance when I moved in and added some rotation. So that last shot illustrated it pretty well, that it got a little further down lane than what the Vengeance was right out of the gate. It was definitely a little sharper when I added rotation. This is when it's important to know how to adjust these things, or at very least know what your type of rotation is. Some people tell me that they're, up the back of the ball or in the middle, when reality is they're very around the side of the ball. And it's important to catch yourself on camera and know what that is, especially at balls like these that hold on to their rotation a little longer. Then, is it going to be a little more violent down lane versus not? So, but once again, your pro shop operators should know that. Same thing, we're going to add a little bit of rotation, bounce it around the lane. That's pretty close. Yeah, it's definitely cleaner by far than what the Vengeance is, for sure. Now it could be the asymmetry in it, just a little bit bumping it down the lane too. And once again, I think I undercut that one just a little as far as rotation. I think I have to really get around this one to make it look like it's bouncing down lane. So, but it's exactly doing what it said it was going to do. So, very interesting. I had no interest in drilling into the weighing and adjusting things. I didn't have multiple of these, so I really wanted to see what they would look like right up against each other. But since I don't have more than one, I ain't too worried about it. And folks, before we get too crazy into these things, I understand innovation is definitely part of the game. By all means, please keep this game as simple as you possibly can. You're going to see your scores. Thank you. Get around 2 or 3 same layouts and go with them. Just throw the ball and see what they do. At the end of the day, there's no magic to keep knocking the pins over. You got to do it yourself. So, all right. This one we are going to make sure it has some rotation. Otherwise, we're going to jump a little further back right, which sounds about right for this time of the gate. That one has a lot of rotation. What's that do? Go figure. Send one messenger, it goes, the 7 stance, send the other one, and that one stance. So definitely getting a little further behind it. I am going to jump a little further back right, see if we can get this thing to start facing up properly. Once again, I think it's a little bit going back to the cover strength on this particular ball too. It's not overly aggressive. So go ahead and get ourselves a new set of pins. No Chris Forey today. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but my man is not feeling too well. Doesn't take very many breaks, so you got to give him once in a while. If you guys have any questions, throw it in the comments. I'm going to come back and take a look. But for now, we are going to move a little further right. So probably just going to take my feet 3 right. Make sure I stay a little firmer. A little closer to where we were when we were striking with the Vengeance quite a bit before the rotation. Yeah, so once again, this is going back to the fact that we are bowling on a sport pattern, something a little flatter, a little more volume. It is going to keep guys a little further out towards the outside of the lane, keep those launch angles a little straighter too. But really, I mean, if anything, I think sport patterns just amplify what a ball is supposed to do and really get you to be able to see the differences in them and understand at that point when people go to these tournaments for sport shots why they bring so many balls. They offer lots of different shapes, and I'm unfortunately I'm in the person category where they bring a lot of balls. So just happened one day. All right, going back to the right still here a little bit. Quite a bit cleaner than what I was expecting, to be honest with you. But this is the pin-up version, so. That was way up the lane. Yeah, that one deserved less than 9. I'd be happy in a real world situation with that one. But yeah, so the pin-up ones are very interesting. When they were coming out with this ball, I said, man, out of all the years I've been doing this, and telling people the pin down balls are the ones that are going to offer you a little shape, be a little cleaner overall, which is true on now 98% of equipment. For them to come out with the one that kind of goes the opposite direction, it's what it is. But as long as we know and know what they do and know how to drill them to get them to do the things that we want them to do. And if you don't, you need to trust your pro shop operator. And if you don't trust them, come to Buddy's. Let's get ourselves another full rack here. Yeah, this ball is just, like I said, quite a bit cleaner cover-wise. I've only thrown it a couple shots. I'm not going to say it's lane shined up already, but it definitely wasn't as dusty as what the Vengeance was coming out of box there with Zero Mercies. Haven't said that, so let's see here. Another one just a little further right. Probably not going to yank this one up through the face, so I'll go in here. That was pretty close. What's that one do? There we go. Now that we're starting to get ourselves back to the friction, getting these balls to face up the right way, it's very easy to see as it means that defined friction down lane, how much sharper it is as it's starting to go through its transition. So, especially versus the Vengeance, I don't have nearly as much rotation as when we were bumped in. So I think this one is definitely finishing as it sees it a little sharper overall than what the Vengeance did. I had to really add some axis rotation to get that one to finish. So still a phone Transformer. Not a crazy strong ball. As you'll see, if you go to the Alex Hoskins video where he dives deep into this, he understands that the fact that this core is just a little on the higher RG side in comparison to some of the other asymmetric balls. He says that the intermediate differential is right in Storm's sweet spot. Basically what I call the you can't mess it up zone. At least you have a little less chance to. Because anytime the intermediate goes crazy, you can really start playing around with the numbers and either really kind of kill a ball or make it a little too strong, vice versa. So it definitely has enough asymmetry in it to still play around with it and be able to do some things, but not hurt yourself when you're experimenting. Still a little further right. See if we can get this one to have some more fun. Oh, that was the worst shot of the day. And it got 9. Got 9. We're lined up, folks. We're lined up. And very, very sharp. But a little early on the rotation. We're not going to talk too much about my game. But, yeah, so right there, I mean, the ball was still plenty sharp enough as it went through the bins. So let's see here. I would be very interested to see what this ball would look like going the other way. That's if I had 2 to compare it to, I would have. But it's just seemed like a better idea. And I say that for a lot of places that are going to be out there. There's a lot of old surfaces to keep these things drilled pin up, keep them off the wing so they're not as early. But I mean, yeah, if it needs to match your game and get a little earlier, by all means. All right, try to put this one online, folks. That was a little further right. What's that do? Fair enough, fair enough. We are in a flat pattern, right? I got to have my excuses, too. Nah, I'm just kidding. I blame the bowler, just like anybody else should. If I throw a shot and it's bad and it doesn't strike, or even if I throw a good shot and it doesn't strike, I'm still blaming the bowler in some fashion. Promise. Little accountability goes a long way in this game, too. You stay accountable, you stay learning. That's the way I see it. You start saying it's somebody else's issue, it really does come back to you letting other things affect you. I promise that one. So, all right, this one's going to be pretty good. I got a good feeling here. There we go. That's something worth having. Oh, another log where the 7 still stands. Lots of those today, especially with this particular ball. I think that speaks a little bit more to the fact that it is getting a little further down lane before it makes its motion. It's not really losing speed as much, not really losing its energy through rotation, so easy to see how this ball gets a little further down lane. I don't currently have any Roto Grip equipment that would compare to this. And with it being a brand new core, really kind of hard, it's hard to compare. And since it's got the Gremlin cover on it, but it's just a solid version, I haven't thrown that ball either. So I just know that to not be a super aggressive cover in comparison. So another one here. Just keep trusting it a little further right here. Let's creep a little further right and see what happens. Hey, see, let's go back. The shot was definitely better. I didn't hate the shot by itself, but reading the lane's a little bit different. If you know nutmeg, the gutter bounces at a certain point, so good to see it though. It's good to see what it's going to do off of that. It's definitely a lot sharper once it actually slowed down a little bit. That almost gives me more faith to get even steeper with it and throw it there earlier to that early friction, because I know this ball is going to have to provide a lot of shape, so why not? Why not? Not like we're crushing scores out here anyway, so I'm actually going to go a zone back left of where I was furthest left at. So instead of sliding 17, I'll probably be in the side of 20, 21, somewhere in that ballpark, just throwing it a little further right and seeing if this ball does have enough oomph once it actually sees the friction. So we'll have to slow up a little bit, but I don't think it'll be anything crazy. Once again, just trying to get it to that friction at the gutter. Hey, that was the idea. That was the idea for that shot anyway. That ball went through the pins like a truck. And that's just holding on to its rotational energy again and making sure that I'm actually getting the ball to start up in the right part of the lane. So a lot of the times people are going to want to see that ball get really far down lane before it tries to make its motion. I think anybody who is bowling, especially in a sport environment, is going to tell you the earlier you try to get your ball to start up, the more you can actually start seeing it go back towards the other way. And then it becomes predictable. And then you hit that early friction, and that's when it really stinks. But that is the play. Get your ball to start up much earlier than the end of the pattern so you can have some control out of it. So same thing, just staying soft throwing it there. Mucho better. That's my Spanish. That's all I got for you. Pretty good, though. As it's starting to see that friction, the ball still has plenty of energy. You can see it as it gets off the back end of the pattern and really still starting to drive through those pins. So not having to do anything special now to really get it to finish over, just throwing the shots to the right part of the lane. So let's see here. If you guys haven't already, feel free to like and share the stream. Not sure exactly what time we got going on here. We got a little bit of time left. We're going to throw a couple more shots. I'm going to throw maybe 2 or 3 in the same zone with the transformer, and I'm going to go to the Vengeance to see if I can add a little bit more rotation with that one and still get it to do the same thing from that particular zone. A little further in on this sport shot, so staying soft and adding some circle to the friction. That was not my best, but it's going to strike anyway, I bet. Oh! Hey. It's a 710. 710 hasn't stood yet today, but I guarantee you I'm going to go out on one. Lots of threats to 710 between those two balls today. So another reset here. If you guys have any questions or anything like that in regards to the Transformer or the Vengeance, feel free to throw those in the comments. The Transformer does come out today. So if you're looking to get one, looking to throw one, head to buddiesproshop.com. We do have them on there. And if you're thinking of getting one drilled by us, I think that's a really wise decision, because not only do we have the best prices on the market, but you're also going to find that we have the best quality as far as the drilling is concerned. I don't think anybody's going to beat us in terms of quality. Maybe some matchers out there, but it's going to be hard to match the price too. So if you need high quality equipment shipped to your front door, Buddy's Pro Shop. Right. Soften up here a little bit. I'm not going to grab it as hard at the bottom. Just make sure the rotation's there. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really go after that one either. Hair up the lane, but ball's still very clean as it's getting down the lane. Despite being a sanded ball, it's still very much not an early reader. Yeah, Sean, the Vengeance is going to be interesting. I liked it when I started adding more rotation, which we're going to jump back into it here in about a shot or two. And it still offered a lot of control, a lot of early control, especially on something with, it's 28, 29 mils, which is starting to become pretty normal as far as challenge conditions are concerned. So still a little further left. I want to make sure this one actually does get to that friction. That last one I kind of went on just trying to be too nice. That one got to the friction. Does it go? Sure. That's the point. Get to the spot where it's going to slow down and actually make the corner. All right, one more with that one. And then I'm probably going to go to the higher end of my rotation with that Vengeance. So one more with the Transformer as it makes its way back up the subway. And before I do, I'm going to show you this ball. That's lane shined up a little bit here. So the last one with the transformer, making sure we do have some rotation. Get this thing to finish for us. Be nice with it. That's got to run the 8-pin over or go behind it. That's the one went on. Wasn't the best, but X's or X's finally got a messenger to go on the camera. Lots of those today. Lots of messengers that happened. Not all connected, but lots of them happened. So, all right, just a real quick close-up again of the transformer. This is the pin-up one. We did miss the wing on this ball. So we're going to make sure this ball gets a little further down lane, holds that rotation for us. It did lane shine up a little bit in that meantime, so I think we got about a game and a half in with that one. But now we're going to jump back into the Vengeance before we call it a day. And really, all I'm doing has been to stay in a similar zone. I'm just going to bump the rotation up a little bit because I have a feeling the symmetrical ball is going to try to get a little forward on us. But it does have a strong enough cover, strong enough core to give me that early read and control. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to be in the same zone as the transformer. Ideally, just a little more rotation and a little further right. I think this is the one.
2, 3, 5, 5. 8, 5, 2. 8, 5, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping for there. So just trying to basically max out my rotation at the bottom to see if I could still get this ball to slow down and corner the right way. Man, that was really good. Still trying to get it and play with that friction a little bit and it not overdo it, which is what's nice about super strong covers, is that when they do play with the friction, they aren't quitting and going dead forward. They're so strong, they round it out. They grind through it instead. So not super sharp as they come off of that friction. They play with it. They allow that hook window to get a little longer as it goes down the lane, which is really what you want when you're looking for these types of things. All right, so another one here, same thing. Just adding pretty much the max into my rotation here. See if it'll still slow down. That's something else. That's cool. That wasn't like the highest end of the rotation, but it was still pretty good. So it's still, like I said, just really slowed down, but didn't overdo it. It really finished right where I would want that thing to go through the pins at. So I have no doubt that it's going to go away at some point, as nutmeg does have a lot of friction. But we'll see. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is a easy question here. Which one would be bigger out of the bag? By far, the Vengeance in comparison to the pin-up transformer. I don't know what the pin-down transformer is doing, as it is supposed to be a little earlier, a little stronger overall in comparison to this pin-up counterpart, but the Vengeance is a lot of ball right out of the gate. A lot more differential potential, so it's 0.55 for the differential. Lower RG means it's going to start up earlier, and it's got a little bigger cover. This is a high-end cover on it, too. Now, this is an HP5 ball from Roto Grip. It's that transformer. But it really depends on how you're going to drill it. But I think straight out of the box up against each other, Vengeance has it in terms of strength. So that's another reason I can add so much rotation and still get it to blend the lane out. So this is going to be another one. I really am going to still focus on making sure I have that rotation pretty much maxed out. Play with the friction. That was a lot. What's that do? Man. Boys and girls. I think that ball just found a home in my bag just with that. That was cool. Unfortunate that I can't throw it this weekend if we're in the snowstorm of NEBA. If NEBA goes on, we're still going. 2 feet of snow or not. I think that's the interesting part about NEBA. As far as I know, they've only canceled a few times. They've bowled through blizzards. Fortunately, this ball can't come with me. Not that I would say I would definitely put it in the bag for that particular event, but watching it go through the pins here with a lot of rotation on something that's still fairly fresh, it's cool. Does that still go? Wow, okay. Wow. That one got a little further right, a little faster too, so kind of expected it now once it starts to see that friction. Still wasn't a crazy sharp angle as it came off. It was still very rounded shape too, just even stronger. So, you know, we got time for a shot or two more. I'm gonna keep going. Eventually, this ball has to quit. If you guys have had anybody look at the Vengeance anyway, or the Transformer if you've already seen him in person, seen him go down the lane outside of this. Let us know how it goes in the comments. I'm sure people would like to know a little bit more information just outside of mine. But like I said, we're going to jump quite a few boards from the left here. I'm going to go 4 left with my feet. Still just trying to get this thing a little further right, a little earlier. With that rotation, that's the important part here. That's pretty close. It's close. It's close to starting to get to that point where it's starting to quit from that particular zone. But finally, I can start to see where this ball will come into play, creating some shape. I'm not fourth arrow by any means right now, but at the same time, we are bending quite a bit of the lane. So, I mean, as long as there's enough volume out there and you add some rotation, I mean, man, this ball seems to be making a play for a spot in my bag for sure. Yeah, it's something that I would need, maybe a step above the phase 2, maybe just a hair earlier or more rounded than what my Zero Mercy is going to give me. Just another one here. Just still with that rotation, still trying to get it right. That's pretty close. Yeah. So you can kind of see that a little bit out of the shot prior, where, I mean, it still finished a little bit more towards the 9-pin, and that one really did, and just ended up with the result of a 10-pin to end the game. So I'm going to throw 1 or 2 more, just because I like to test myself, test the ball, that kind of thing. Yeah, the Vengeance does, I agree. As soon as I started adding some rotation there, early on it was a little suspect, just because I was probably just a little too far left initially, and I wasn't really adding a lot of rotation. So we're going to do, like I said, 1 or 2 more with the Vengeance from this spot. And I'll try the Transformer just because why not? That's all the rotation I've ever put on a ball. That was all of it, folks. That was maxed out plus the little red line afterwards. Could have went through the 8-pin, but pretty much expected it. I mean, it was hair up the lane too, so the ball really got behind it. The Vengeance looks great. 2, 4, 8, 10. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I promise the ball's still doing the right thing. It's still offering that mid lane control and not going sideways down lane. And I think that's what I really like out of the Zero Mercy too. Ball gets a little further down lane than what this does, but still offers the same type of control and hitting powers that's going through the pins. So still starting up in the right part of the lane. So all right, 1 more to end on a good one here with the Vengeance anyway. That's going to definitely do it. Yeah, so much better, much better. But that's what kind of we're looking for out of that ball. That's really what I expected it on a higher volume pattern. That's what I expected. Going back to it, is it good at everything? Up for debate. Up for debate. Because once we get past a certain zone, that's a big ball. Big balls are very good for certain things, not everything. But I'm sure if the Vengeance account watches this, they're going to argue it. So that's okay. Ball's very good at offering early control on medium to heavy and heavy oil patterns. It's got a lot of differential to it. It's got a lot of early hook too. So it's going to really offer a lot of control in those patterns that are a little more volume. Or, once again, if you're a speed dominant player. If you get this ball initially right out of the gate and you're not a big fan of it because it seems like it's not doing much down lane, give it a couple games to kind of like the cover break in a little bit is what they say. And what I'm talking about there is just lane shine, because this ball is pretty dusty as it comes out of box. Balls like that, especially even like urethane, for example, super dusty, super early, and they just hook immediately, and sometimes a little too much. Sometimes they just hook and kind of die and roll out. So give it a few shots and let it come to you. All right, I'm going to throw the Transformer from the same zone. I don't expect this ball to look great, but maybe it does. And the only reason for that is this ball already wants to naturally get a little further down lane. But if I'm going to do it from the same place, I got to trick it just a little bit. So we'll see. Maybe I'll soften up and we'll do it from the same part of the lane. And see if it should finish a little stronger and a little later down lane. I mean, that's probably as close as I get with that. So really easy to see there too, I think, is the fact that ball was going to get just probably a foot or two further down lane before it even started to tip there. Yeah, we'll get another one in there before we end it. All right. Same thing, just staying a little softer. Make sure we feed it to that friction with that rotation. Maybe. Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know. They both look pretty good. So I definitely had to get a lot softer with that particular ball in order to make sure it was going to see the corner, because I knew that ball was going to be a little further down lane. But it's still finishing pretty sharp. I mean, even that one I felt just a hair more forward on, and it really slowed down the right part of the lane and went to the pin swell. So, gosh, I have to do it. One more, and then we'll get you guys. So maybe just go a little further left. Why not? See if this thing will miss the headpin. Staying soft. Lots of rotation. I mean, a lot. Yeah. Basically what I expected out of that one. I think I was asking a lot from the move before, where it looked pretty good, and even that one didn't really get to the friction, so kind of hard to tell. And it was maxed out on the rotation. So, but that's the idea when you're testing new balls. Test them around your versatility too, just to see what it does in comparison to, say, you're trying to come up the back of the ball a little more, trying to add a little bit of rotation from different parts of the lane, see where these things end up, see what they end up doing and how they're going to complement your bag. A lot of times people just buy balls for the sake of buying balls rather than looking at what slot you can fill in your bag and what it's going to do to help improve your score on specific conditions, or maybe just a house shot or whatever it ends up being. So going back here, the transformer, I definitely seen it do exactly what they said it was going to do in terms of the pin-up drilling. Now, this particular ball definitely got a little further down lane, a little easier. It was very easy to see that it did need some defined friction in order to really start making the corner. Definitely a little weaker overall than what that Vengeance was. The Vengeance has a lot more differential in total, but that's not to say that the pin down counterpart, where we're drilling into the wing, bumps the intermediate up. It's going to bump the overall differential up, and you're going to see just a little more shape and a little earlier shape out of it. So since I didn't drill one pin down, it's kind of hard to make that exact comparison, but the pin up counterparts to each other, very different as far as I could see. So something that's going to be a little earlier and rounder is with that Vengeance, definitely made for medium to high type volumes of oil, whereas the Transformer, despite it being in an HP5 line, still had just probably a little less overall shape with the pin up and just a little further down lane. I would probably put this in the category of just being a little closer to like a medium to heavy oil, not necessarily up in the heavies, unless you're smacking this thing with surface, which if you're bowling on a little volume anyway, hit some stuff with surface, it's going to do you well. Other than that, the Vengeance comes out next Friday. The Transformer comes out today. So if you guys want to take a look at those, you can take a look at buddiesproshop.com. If I didn't already tell you, go to Storm's YouTube channel. Check out a little bit more on the Transformer. It's good to stay informed, understand what those drillings are going to do, and understand a little bit about the technology just in the bowling industry in general. And worst case scenario, point it to your pro shop. Don't overcomplicate things. I think that's the biggest part I would like to everybody to take out of the Transformer thing is just because there's new technology out there, don't try to dive too hard into it to the point where we're getting super duper precise with layouts. Folks, you still got to make the shots. You're still going to be bowling on different surfaces throughout your entire center. One lane's not going to necessarily play like the other. There's a lot of factors that come into bowling outside of just the super precise layouts that we get there. So if you need to be specific for your own peace of mind, that's a different story. But if you're trying to improve your overall game, keep it simple. Keep it simple. So give me just a second. We're going to look through our little tabulator here and see who we can get a Buddies prize pack for, since I'm doing this solo today. Button. Oh, how about that? And your winner, let me get that name again. Your winner of the Buddies merch pack for today is Paul Willett. So Paul, congratulations if you're still watching. Definitely appreciate you watching as well as everybody else. But Paul, go ahead and get us your best shipping address as well as your t-shirt size. You can send that to either drillers@buddiesproshop.com, or you're more than welcome to send it to us on our Facebook Messenger. You can go ahead and shoot us a message there, and we'll go ahead and we'll get those items out to you. Once again, thank you to everybody who is watching these week by week. I know we're not necessarily killing it dime by dime and making sure we're always there, but it's very busy time of the year, so we had to take some time off. But be sure to pay attention. I'm sure we're going to have some type of review either next week or the following, so be on the lookout for those. Outside of that, enjoy the snow or don't. Either way, stay safe. Everybody have a good weekend. Thanks for watching.